We're gonna start off with, we're gonna have the last 5 companies pitch. As a reminder, at the end of all the 5 companies, we are going to ask the audience to vote for their favorite, and we'll have the website up and the code to use at that point. And then we'll announce the winner, the judges pick, and then the audience pick. All right, so first up, we've got Baarb. Give a warm welcome to Baarb.
How many people in this room have gone online to book a hotel and been overwhelmed with all of the generic options out there? Me too. I'm Barbara Parshall, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Baarb. We're changing the way people see the world by delivering personalized hotel booking. A little bit about me. I've spent most of my career in institutional finance. I led technology teams, technology platforms for Wall Street firms, and I helped hundreds of financial startups. During that time, I covered about 2 million miles all around the world. So I've set out now to build a better way for road warriors like me, or just the typical tourist on their Hawaii vacation, to find the right hotel for them. But why is finding the right hotel so hard? Look at this search for a trip to Los Angeles. Maybe you're going with your family for the weekend. Over 2,000 results. Do you have time to go through 2,000 hotels to find the perfect hotel for next weekend? No, nobody does. Booking hotels is a waste of time. There's too much information out there, and the information is generic. And not only do you not have time to go through those hotels, but it's a waste of time for the travel companies as well. And that's why the average conversion rate on those sites is 4%. It means 96% of the people who do that search right there will abandon their search before they actually book. Nothing is personalized, and it doesn't matter if you've been on that site 200 times before. So we built Baarb, the world's first mobile and desktop app that delivers personalization to the hotel booking process. We'll provide you with the ability, the site allows you to prioritize the results that you receive based on what you care about most for that search, what you've liked in the past, and what others like you have liked. It allows us to deliver results faster and easier to you so that you're finding exactly what you need by eliminating the majority of the generic results that don't apply, by eliminating the noise. So for example, let's take that trip to Los Angeles as an example. If you were to enter a pool as a search queue, and you can enter anything, and select the family profile, which is a cluster of attributes that are typical for families when they travel. Your search results will produce, at the very top of your list, this hotel, for example, which, as you can see from the image, shows you that the hotel has a pool. And if you look in the details of the hotel, you'll see right away that it offers a kids club and a playground and kid-friendly activities, exactly what you're looking for. From there, you can search for the best price and book immediately. 3 steps to the perfect hotel. Now, if this isn't a trip with your family and you'd like to set up your own profile and add your own attributes for that type of trip, you can do that as well. Notice how I've set up a couple for myself, one for traveling with my mom because she likes boutique hotels on the beach, or one for when I travel with my dogs because we need pet-friendly hotels. So we launched our desktop and mobile app on January 26th. We have 1,000 users today who are currently booking trips from California all the way to Spain. We're getting great feedback, and we're partnering with great companies who are helping us to amplify the message out there, including Detour, the company that's just partnered with Airbnb for their audio walking tours, and we work with 100,000 members around the world. The competition, the competition, look at Priceline as the companies that you know, like Kayak or Expedia. They're kind of like the Blockbuster Video of a decade ago. They had great technology then, but technology moves very quickly, and they're very much at risk at falling behind the times. Other startups are using artificial intelligence, like Trip.com and Lola, to personalize other aspects of the travel experience, but no one has delivered personalization for the hotel booking process. The travel industry is huge, $300 billion and growing rapidly. Although we are laser focused on a specific aspect of the market, which is millennials and younger Gen Xers. And that's because they have only known a life with personalization. Everything that they do is curated and personalized for them through the apps that they use every day. For example, 80% of the movies that are watched on Netflix today are watched because of personalization. The power is huge. We have a B2C model where we're receiving revenue today from commission on hotel rooms booked, and we, in the future, will deliver an API that will provide a portion of our technology to other travel companies so that they can deliver personalization to their customers and increase their conversion rates. We have very aggressive growth goals, although we have a very detailed plan for how we're going to get there. And important to note that travel technology companies like ours typically sell for somewhere between 6 to 8 times revenue. If you look at our projected revenue for 2021 at $68 million, that puts us at a valuation of about $500 million in 5 years. We're currently raising $500,000 in investment to complete our technology development, to spread the word through marketing, and to make a couple key hires for the team. It's a convertible note with a 20% discount, 2 years, with a $3 million valuation cap. A little bit more about the team. My co-founder, Sonia, who's here with me, is the creative side of our collective brain. Her background is in digital marketing and global distribution with major studios. Our chief technology officer is a subject matter expert in artificial intelligence with 20 years of experience. So we believe that personalization is the new standard for the hospitality industry, and we're very excited to be first to market. And by the way, in closing, in case anybody is wondering, Baarb is an acronym. It stands for Badass Artificial Reservations Buddy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Jane,
Thank
can we get
you.
started?
Sure. Okay. So what's going through my mind is, why is this better than just I personally use filter? I understand the personalization is a hot trend. However, for this, I could just filter, go to hotel.com, and I can get the same short results.
So let me make sure I understand what your process would be first. So first you would type in, I'm going to Paris, 2 people on these dates. So then you go to the site, and then you're going to start filtering by all of the things that you're looking for, like a pool or Wi-Fi. In that filter, would you be able to say, I want to be in a romantic hotel, or I want all family activities in this hotel? Would you have to go through and search each one? I guess I'm asking you the question because I think that the 2 key advantages here are, one, that using the search queues, we're searching all of the free text in the hotel description, we're searching the amenities in the hotel, and we're searching concepts in the images, and very soon we'll be able to search all of the reviews that are associated with the hotels as well. So just by entering in that one field, what's important to you, romantic boutique hotel, in the city center near sightseeing with a pool and Wi-Fi. You'll get in one click. Then the results will be prioritized for you with those results. So I think it's faster and easier.
How much faster?
And more intuitive. It's several steps and it's far more intuitive.
So the trend now from the booking agencies and from the hotels themselves, from the chain like Marriott or Hilton or whatever, is to use conversational bots to do the personalization. So you're reacting to a software robot that goes and finds that stuff for you, and you're doing the refinement by essentially talking to it. And so there's a technology a step beyond what you're describing. How do you deal with that or incorporate it or compete with it?
Yeah, most travel brands do not have that. I know exactly. That's the natural language
they will very
search with
soon,
it.
believe me.
Yes, they will. It's. I think that all travel companies these days they have three choices. They can acquire the technology, they can build the technology, or they can license the technology. But it's certainly a fact that every single one of the companies in the hospitality industry is going to have to do it, or they'll become obsolete, like Blockbuster Video. So yes, absolutely, that natural language search capability, along with the speech recognition, is on our dashboard and will be delivered within a few months.
Great. Patrick?
My questions tend to be on user acquisition. So millennials and young Gen Xers, I mean, most people, we have a bazillion apps on our phone. We use 4, maybe, at most. And so how are you going to break, I know it's early, it's launched in January, 1,000 users today. How are you breaking through and getting to be one of those go-to things? Because people are hardwired to go to, if they've been using Travelocity, they've been using other things.
Right.
I just go there.
You have to get them off it.
Or if you're lucky, you get to
Right.
ask your corporate travel agent.
Right. Well, that's certainly the dilemma that's faced every company that's changed the behavior of people, right? How did Uber do that with yellow cabs? And how did Pandora do that instead of people listening to their Sony Walkmans? So it's certainly a big challenge. We need to have lots of great partners around us who are helping us through that process. But I don't think I mentioned that in addition to the 1,000 users, that's only because we're in a limited private beta right now. We actually have 20,000 users waiting for access at this point, and we've been growing that so far using scalable paid advertising. I did mention a couple of the more free, viral type of growth hacking marketing tactics, and we intend to continue doing that, as well as partnering with other travel companies in order to build the awareness and the
Just
users.
quickly, what's your targeted commission take rate?
It's per night. Right now it's $12, but it will be, and that's based on the average. The average cost of a hotel per night is $120, and the average booking is 2 nights. Right now, based on the commission structure that we have, it's $12. However, within the next couple months, we're changing our inventory partners because we've been accepted by Amadeus, of course, the global leader now, and based on our business model. And so the commission rate is going to increase significantly for us. It will actually more than double.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up, we've got Sandstone.
Hi, I'm Sarah Knabb. I am a co-founder of Sandstone Diagnostics, and I'm here to tell you why tracking sperm is a surprisingly good idea. So fertility is a big deal, and most of the products and services are naturally aimed at women. But how many of you knew that infertility actually affects men and women equally? Couples who deal with an issue on the male side have relatively few options, and this pain creates a very large opportunity in the market for innovation. Internationally, infertility is a growing problem, and in several key markets, male infertility is really on the rise. So let's talk a little bit about sperm. For men, fertility is a numbers game. The more sperm you have, the better the chances of making a baby. But as the last several decades studies are showing, that sperm counts have been on the decline, and men with low sperm counts are contributing to longer times to conception. But luckily, sperm count is not a static thing. It's not like your shoe size. It fluctuates pretty wildly over a man's life, and it good pun. So, feminism. So what a man does in his life will actually really impact his fertility, and that's kind of a big deal when you're trying to get pregnant. So we developed Trak, which is an at-home system that allows men to measure and improve their sperm count from the comfort of home. The system has been FDA cleared. It's a class 2 device and is as accurate as a lab test. It comes paired with an app that allows men to track their results over time and get coached on things that they can do to improve. All of our algorithms and materials have been developed in conjunction with leading urologists in the space, and we have clinical partnerships with top-tier clinics to do ongoing research. We launched this past January and have a really great reception by both the press and the public. I'd particularly call out a recent Engadget review. I got a good line, right? A recent Engadget review where the reporter actually dove into his personal fertility story, and it's really powerful. So if you have time, search SPERM and Engadget or something like that, you'll find it. We've also gotten really great feedback from some of our early users. So surprisingly, a lot of guys are buying Trak before they're trying to conceive as a thing to get ready. And that's really opening some new market opportunities for us, new market segments. We've also found that men love the materials because they're picture-based and they're really easy to read. And the system is easy to use. I have lots of brothers. I love men, really. So how do you use the system? You collect a sample at home. You add a few drops to the prop. It'll spin, and the sperm cells are going to be isolated by going down a long channel where they're going to stack up and form a column. The more sperm that you have, the higher your sperm count. Pretty simple. We categorize the results as low, moderate, or optimal, and when the user enters them into the app, he will get feedback about what his results mean, and after answering a few questions, he'll be able to tell you, we'll be able to give him coaching on things that he can do, the most important things he can do to try to improve his fertility. We are also emerging as a thought leader. Go ahead. With our website, don'tcookyourballs.com, which people love. It's got over 300 articles on all facets of men's reproductive health, interactive tools, and actually a great growing community of men who are asking questions about their reproductive health. I actually really love this because I get to interact with these men, and they're really actually quite vulnerable on the site. Guys, you're making this 5 minutes hard. We're selling it. I guess that's all I'm going to say here. And we're starting with consumers online, and we're going to be expanding into retail as naturally and also through medical providers internationally. And then we also have a pipeline that will support future growth. We have a strong team. Our founders came out of Sandia National Lab, where we developed the platform. We brought on Karen Drexler as CEO. She's had a lot of great exits, and she's a real thought leader in the home diagnostic space. She built a career around glucose testing. She's incredibly passionate, and I love her to death. We also have great IP. We developed 2 wholly owned patents for the Trak system, and then the technology, the base technology, is protected by licensed patents from Sandia. And now's actually quite a good time to get in if you're an investor. So we have a bridge note that's open. It's just about to close, so you better act quick. We're going to be closing it in April. And then we'll be opening a Series A later this year if you have bigger money. You can talk to me afterwards, and I'm happy to tell you more about that. So help me change the dialogue about fertility. This is not a women's problem. This is a couple's problem. You can download our app, and you can learn something new. Thank you.
You just got 150 new clients.
Yeah, right here. It's hot. I take credit cards.
That's awesome.
What's the typical age range for the men that have bought the product so far?
I'd say we average right around 30. Yep.
Around 30. And are the men reaching out, or is it through their wives or significant others?
Surprisingly, the purchasers are men. We do have a lot of women coming to the site, but it's about 50-50, but the purchase actually happens by the man.
Got it. And is it shareable, your results shareable socially?
No. Facebook leaderboard! No.
The man would ask that.
Pipeline feature, frat house market, yeah.
So you mentioned the cost per unit yet?
The cost of
How
goods?
much? Yeah. How much?
It's around $50.
50 bucks.
Yep.
And besides the fact that you just got 150 new clients, how do you do customer acquisition?
It's content marketing and search primarily is our biggest thing, because couples, they're really searching for information. Particularly men are searching for information silently. They're not having a conversation about this. Women, they're a little bit more social, so there's a few more channels to reach them. Ovulation apps is a big one.
And then a real quick one. So in order to really scale, you have to manufacture those things. So do you have a manufacturer who will scale it really fast if you need a lot of units?
Yeah, we have good supply chain.
Good.
Patrick?
Nope.
No,
You're good?
he's good.
You want to try it?
I was going to ask about a razor blade model, but I didn't.
It's a good point, and yes, it is a possibility. Yep, for razor blade sales. Yep.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Next up, we've got Wyzerr.
Hi everyone, I'm Natasya Malahala. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Wyzerr. So as you know, surveys are everywhere. Whether you're a small startup, a large airline, or a really large hotel chain, you need customer feedback. But the current ways that surveys are designed are actually inconsistent with where modern technologies are going. Today, technology is easy, fun, fast, and very smart. Surveys, as you know, are not. So we developed Wyzerr to build surveys that are fun, fast, and easy. They're much more consistent with where technology is going. Our surveys are built to incorporate some of the smart technologies that are now available, such as deep learning, real-time natural language processes, and a lot of other cognitive technologies. Within a few months of releasing our first few smart forms, Wyzerr quickly became really popular with a lot of large enterprises. Now, while working with them, we discovered that there were actually two really big problems in the marketplace. One, people were really good at creating really bad questions. So we were working with some of the world's best market researchers, and yet there was this disconnect between what researchers wanted to ask and what consumers actually wanted to answer. They spent weeks at a time going back and forth on different questions, and ultimately, after the data came back, they were unhappy with the data that they collected and then wanted to run a new survey. It was great for Wyzerr, but it was really inefficient for their teams. The second big problem in market research in general is that the data that is being collected is often collected by people that the data ultimately does not end up for. So for example, researchers were creating surveys to collect data for marketing teams who were not data savvy. So again, it was taking, we were doing a really good job of collecting data, but it was taking market researchers anywhere between 2 to 3 months to turn that data into meaningful reports. And then those reports go to teams that then spend a lot of time figuring out what to do next. And that's when we started developing Wyzerr.ai. So Wyzerr.ai is basically artificial intelligence to do some of the manual tasks and the very expensive, time-consuming tasks that market researchers currently do. One of those tasks is creating survey questions. The Wyzerr actually walks you through creating a good, smart survey. It restricts you from creating bad surveys. So I don't know if you can actually see that, but in the corner, there's like a timer that tells you, if you're creating a bad survey, there's a green little smiley face, and then as you create a really long survey, your questions become really long, it actually starts turning yellow and red, and the emojis get a little drastic. And then the data that after you collect your survey responses, the data is turned into something that you're all very used to seeing, report cards. So this dashboard, as you can see, has no bar graphs, there's no scatter plots, there's no pie charts, so anyone can use it. The subjects of this dashboard is actually different KPIs for a business, and they can be customized based on your role. So this dashboard is an example of something for a marketing person. As you can see, there's different subjects like website, your mobile application, customer loyalty. This is important because when you think of surveys, surveys are often sent out to collect feedback about different things. Like one of those things might be user experience, of course, customer satisfaction for service-based businesses. Now, where it gets really interesting is what happens when you click on these grades. As you know, with progress reports, you're also told what you could do to improve those grades. And that's really where the complexity of AI comes in. So we actually tell you how you can improve those grades, and that's what the Wyzerr does. What's really interesting about this, and what a lot of people know about AI to become effective, is that you have to continuously train the data. So similar to Tinder, you swipe left or swipe right when you like something or dislike something. On the Wyzerr, you actually swipe left if it's accurate, and swipe right if it's not accurate. And so effectively, businesses are training their own data models and artificial intelligence models. Oftentimes, Wyzerr is automatically grouped with other online survey companies. However, we're really most closely similar to a market research company. So we like to say that we're building a hybrid between the two. Market research is an industry that has seen very little to no innovation in the past 15 to 20 years. And so it's definitely ripe for disruption right now. And it's also a very expensive industry. Most companies don't have access to really good market research currently. And that's why, a lot of startups, they don't go through the right mechanisms of doing market research. So a beta version of this Wyzerr actually just launched a few days ago. We're now available for a very simple price on our website at $99 a month. So you can definitely sign up today to use the beta version. Data science is not a very diverse field, unfortunately. So I'm really proud to say that we're bringing some much needed diversity. I serve as the CEO. I'm also the techie on the team. I studied computer science and legal studies at Berkeley. I was a programmer. And then I worked as a patent specialist actually here in the Valley in DC. My co-founder, Stedman Harper, is the designer and the creative genius behind all of the really great interfaces that you just saw. He actually worked in marketing for Walmart and Sam's Club. And then my other co-founder, Bjorn Simmons, actually was in politics before he joined Wyzerr. So, he's used to selling pretty much anything. So he does. So he's in sales and marketing for Wyzerr. One of the golden rules in business is to continuously listen to your customers. Wyzerr.ai is essentially the technology to allow you to effectively listen to your customers continuously. Check us out at Wyzerr.ai.
Nice job.
Thanks.
What's your response rate?
Currently on our surveys, above 80%, typically around 87%.
87% of the folks that receive the surveys respond to it?
Yes, from the moment of engagement. So when they open up a survey, 87% of respondents complete the survey.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I mean, seriously. So I know a Canadian company that does surveys for the hospitality industry, and they get a high response rate because they're doing it at the point of engagement. So you're standing in the lobby of a Marriott, the music's too loud, you say something right then and there, and the incentive is it's fixed right away, or somebody just responded to it, and you get this back and forth with the people you're trying to communicate to and give feedback to. So how do you get 87%? Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of science to creating good surveys. One of those things is like effective questions, really short, to the point questions that allow people to get to the point and answer the question.
But they have to open it in the first place.
Yeah, so this is after they open it.
Yes.
So one follow-on question to that. So I saw your customer base. Are these surveys going to employees or to their customers?
So it's been completely varied. So we've done internal surveys, like employee surveys. We've done external surveys. So one of the surveys we did for a retailer was actually in several thousand stores around the country at point of sale to test that out. So it's been completely varied. We've done event surveys. We've done market research studies, some really complex market research studies as well.
And how many surveys?
How many surveys total? We've have respondents were at about 900,000 survey responses over maybe 212 now surveys.
Yeah, Yeah, so one of the things that I'm curious about is the trend is to survey people without letting them know that you're surveying them, but you guys are trying to purposely improve the survey. So what was we all understand that people don't really take surveys. So what was the idea behind, I need to build this?
So I had a failed startup. So my first startup, I spent like 3.5 years working on it, and then like in the postmortem process, I realized that I didn't collect any feedback. Like I was, because I'm a programmer, I was building out technologies without ever testing it. So that was really the catalyst to the survey, and then to building the survey. And maybe I went on a tangent there. I don't know. Could you repeat the question?
That's good. Yeah, so what's the motivation behind this, right? Did you do a market analysis to see if that's actually a problem?
Yeah, so so one of the things that I thought was that, I can do market research because I really just didn't know how. And so initially when we started Wyzerr, it was really to, make market research available to most startups and small businesses that couldn't afford it. So there's 28 million small businesses, and there's the 16,000 the enterprises. And so initially, Wyzerr was started for people like me that was building things without testing it. And we thought that if we could make enterprise-level market research available to everyone, then we're solving a real problem. And hopefully, then we're creating a very fair, competitive landscape. I think the Teslas and the Apples and the Microsofts, like everything that you develop started with market research. And so you're continuously ahead of startups because startups just don't really have the money and they don't know how. And there's a mentality. So one of the problems that we're currently facing in terms of, and kind of why we focus on enterprise first. Enterprise was willing to pay us like a lot of money to use it and allowed us, and basically paid for the development of Wyzerr. But B, like startups and small businesses, they don't think they need market research. And so like one of the things that we're challenged with is like, initially, that's the target market that we wanted, is like educating them why, companies like Microsoft and companies like Uber and Amazon continuously outperform everyone. Like they're really good at doing market research. And so, when we were doing our case studies, a couple of startups were like, well, I use Google Analytics, so I'm doing market research. And it's like, no, you're not. And so that's why we kind of shifted our customer acquisition to target, a certain companies first before we really try to scale.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much. Next up, we've got a company called RideAlong.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. I'm Catherine with RideAlong. I'm part of a 3-woman team focused on changing policing. We've been working on this for over a year, and we've also presented as subject matter experts in a variety of venues on our work, including at the White House. We believe that better response options for first responders means better outcomes for people. What this means is that first responders are a social safety net of society, and yet we don't enable them to really do the best job that they can because we don't give them enough information. Here's an example of when that didn't work. Brian Torgerson suffered permanent brain damage from excessive use of force by Seattle police officers. His parents called for help. When they arrived, Brian was unarmed and initially compliant, and yet by the end of it, he wasn't able to breathe. They won a $1.75 million lawsuit with the city. People like Mr. Torgerson get caught in the criminal justice system all the time. In fact, 25% of the people who die during their police interactions have a known mental health issue. And we spend $27.8 billion on this a year. The hardest part of a crisis call is that there's no crime. It's community caretaking, but we still want to know what to do. This is a first responder talking about how they want more information to fill that gap. So how do we change this? RideAlong is a single portal for first responders. We provide information about specific individuals in certain vulnerable populations to first responders. This includes diversion opportunities to divert them away from jails and ERs, providing information about the wraparound services that they can either have in the community or they're already engaged with, like their case manager, as well as actually supporting cost savings as well as resource allocation. We're starting with police because the cost of failure is fatal. We built and piloted the app with the Seattle Police Department last year, and it's so successful that we'll be launching to all of Patrol next month. In fact, after beta testing, officers started emailing leadership to see when they could start using the app in the field. And we know that it works. We were able to close the call quickly. With a response plan, we knew exactly what to try. The other officer said last time they spent 2 hours at this guy's house. We presented this as an anonymous feedback quote to Seattle police officers, and the officer who said it actually stood up and then told his entire roll call about how central the app was in that interaction, something unique for police culture in general. And Seattle is going to save $10 million a year with our app, between police hours, jail and ER visits, as well as lawsuits. RideAlong in general creates smarter cities for strategic first responders, safer communities, especially for our most vulnerable populations, and connected systems for better decision making. So what's the market? I'm actually going to pause and tell you about a competition we just won at South by Southwest. It was judged by 5 mayors for GovTech companies around the country to see what was solving their most pressing need. Apparently they thought it was us. Our total addressable market, just in looking at policing and mental health, is $2.1 billion a year in revenue. What we're looking at specifically is focused on agencies that are technologically more forward-thinking, as well as focused on crisis in general. The current application includes tailored information and specific data collection. And so with that, we're building a lightweight version, pulling out the data collection side, and then we're going to evolve it to include other first responders as well as other vulnerable populations. We estimate that by 2022, we'll have $21.6 million in revenue after working with 286 clients. So what we're doing right now is raising a seed round of $1.25 million. With that, we're focused on sales and outreach, including 5 pilots, 1 being Seattle, and then for the other 4, we've just been advertising it for the last 6 weeks, basically. 2 cities are already in contract negotiation, an unprecedented speed for government sales cycles. And then the other 2, we have 9 interested in, so we might turn it into a competitive pilot. And then we're also going to scale up the prototype, including building out that lightweight version, as well as expanding our team to include both sales and engineering talent. So help us build a safer, more connected future. Thank you.
Very nice. Could you just explain a little bit more how that works? So the records are coming from existing mental health records, police records, or something? Because when, like,
Yeah.
if you get pulled over for a traffic violation or something, they take your license, they run it in the back, they have a computer system that pops up. Do you have a record or anything? Is this plugging into that and then popping up, this person has a history of mental illness and these 14 calls over the last 12 months? And
Yeah,
how
so
does it work?
so basically what happens is there's 2 specific kind of places that we're collecting data within the application. One is exactly in that records management system. In Seattle, as well as with a lot of other agencies, if it's a crisis call or a call with someone with a mental health issue, then there's also an extra form they fill out about what behaviors they saw and what happened to the call. So that information, as well as your general, physical characteristics and such. And then there's usually, especially with larger metropolitan areas, there's a crisis response unit, especially trained patrol officers who deal with kind of the most acute people who need that support. And then they work with their case managers, family, any other support systems they have to add in that tailored information. So when an officer is going to like a 911 call, we're actually integrated into the 911 system so that they can, when they run that address or that person's name as they're headed to the call, they can pull up RideAlong, see that information before they get to the call, including if you're interacting with Catherine, ask her to draw something because that calms her down. Also, her dog died last month, so don't mention that because that's a trigger. Things like that.
But that information is not released till you sign a contract with the city, and then there's privacy protections and all the good stuff that
Yep.
go with that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So our customer is government. Yeah.
So is effectively you are aggregating data that could be useful for the police officers to handle a certain situation, right? And you're making it easy to read in an easy-to-read UI form?
Yeah, so we did 10, so my co-founder and I are both trained user researchers, so we did a ton of user research on this. We did usability testing with 10% of Seattle patrol officers to make sure that that information was not just provided, but accessible to them, especially at, for example, a font size and a font type that is good for them to see in the car, especially because they're reading all of this usually while driving.
So some first responders are really well trained, and some of the police officers that get a call to come to a house because some guy is going a little nutty in a hallway are not well trained. So is this, somewhat prescriptive? Do this in this situation, don't do that. So they get some coaching.
Yeah, and then it builds on the crisis intervention training that's already happening in police departments across the country. The International Association of Chiefs of Police actually just put out a campaign to get more police officers kind of trained. But also right now the information that they have when they're headed to a call, if someone has a mental health issue, this is the context they get. Caution, mental. That's it. So we're also kind of not setting them up for success in a lot of those situations.
Yeah, it's really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. All right, we're up to our last company. They are Atypica.
Hi everyone, my name is Ruby. I am the former CEO of Cocoon Cam, and I'm currently a proud product manager here at Atypica. Our mission is to uncover the world's talent data. So first of all, I wanted to thank you guys so much for having me here. I know that our founder and CEO, Laura, really wished that she was here, but she's currently speaking at a Women of Color in Tech conference in Arizona. And having been in technology since the age of 17, worked at companies like Jawbone, and most notably as head of localization at Twitter, I know no one better than Laura to inspire those young minds, just like she inspired me to join Atypica. So the picture that you see behind me is actually when the idea behind Atypica was born. Laura had been invited to join a panel with notable speakers such as the Reverend Jesse Jackson to talk about the problems of diversity in tech. And it was here that she realized, why don't we use technology to try to solve the problem? And a couple of months later, she had created a very powerful data-driven solution that would allow recruiters to finally address the problem. So across all industries, about 1 in 3 employers say that they struggle to fill any kind of position. About 95% of them say that they plan to hire an engineer, but 8 out of 10 of them struggle to fill those engineering positions. Those are the kind of struggles that resonated with key folks in human resources, which is why we decided to not just focus on diversity, but to also help them find the value in their existing recruiting databases. It is with this in mind that we were able to close key contracts with folks and companies here, as well as in the Midwest, and we were able to raise funding from awesome investors such as True Ventures. So one of the key benefits that our customers get that were actually unexpected is that we're able to surface thousands of qualified applicants in the matter of seconds, whereas usually it would take them days, if not weeks, to be able to look at hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of resumes. That also leveraged with our custom workforce trends, as well as our ability to look at their applicant databases, we're able to give them a leg up in things that matter to them, such as workforce analytics, talent acquisition, diversity, and business intelligence. One of our key secret sauces is that we're able to give companies a full view of the demographics, including gender and race, of not just their applicant databases, but the whole company, with up to 96% accuracy. That's more than anyone else currently out there on the market. With our matching product, recruiters are finally empowered to be able to sift through their workload and be able to divide that workload, and furthermore, be able to use our natural language processing software to quickly sift through things that matter to them, like experience, years of education, what kind of education they got, where they live, and we also give them any public data available on those applicants, which is really awesome. What's really cool is that diversity data is also no longer anecdotal. We give these companies a complete view of not just how the applicants are doing and the folks that are hired, but exactly how they look like throughout the whole stage in that funnel while they're applying. As far as our recruiter analytics, we empower recruiters to be able to look at key performance indicators that matter to them, such as time to hire, the quality of applicants by source, and we also give them key industry benchmarks so that they're able to compare themselves compared to their peers. But we're not stopping our recruiting. We're not stopping at recruiting. I'm really excited about the next business intelligence tools that are related to compensation and mobility, because we'll be able to give companies complete view of the full talent life cycle, finally allowing them to also address other problems such as attrition. Once again, my name is Ruby, and this is Atypica. We're a people-first company. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Ruby. Patrick, do you want to get started? I saw you taking notes. I'm sorry. You're on the spot.
Helps me remember. So congratulations. This is actually an area of interest to us in underserved markets and matching more talented candidates to jobs. But there's a lot of companies going after this space. I mean, there's Labor Acts. I could probably have 15 or 20 that we've met in the last year. Can you talk a little bit more what is the secret sauce that differentiates this company and its approach from these others? Is it the pool of applicants? It seems to be something around the business intelligence layer, but can you dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah, so what we do is we're not an ATS, so we actually partner with ATSs and we look at that existing data. And what our customers really love about us is instead of going to those different companies to get different solutions, we're more of a one-stop shop to really help them leverage all that data that they already have. And then on top of that, because we have millions of resumes, we're able to, basically our software is able to learn faster. And we've been doing this for a while. We were one of the first companies to do this. So our algorithms are better, and especially our diversity algorithms, now that diversity and inclusion is really important to companies, they really love that we have such a high accuracy, because folks are not, a lot of folks are underreporting on the EEOC, and that's really important to them. So they currently don't have that visibility, and we're the ones that can give them the highest accuracy with that.
What do you mean by accuracy?
So by accuracy is, so I'll give you an example. One of the companies that we work with, only about 30% of folks filled out the EEOC. And so they don't have any data on any of the other 70% that fill that out. So what our algorithms do is we look at folks based on names, like a lot of data such as the census, down to the zip code, to identify what their race and gender is potentially, and we do that with a 96% accuracy.
So I'm a little confused by that still. So are you doing that for applicants, or are you doing that for employees after they're hired? Because we just had a conversation on the panel about the fact that Shanna was hiring people blind, so she wouldn't be influenced.
We do it for applicants right now, and later for the folks that are hired.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I guess speak a little bit to your traction.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're talking to some of the top companies here. We're really, happy to be a part of Silicon Valley. And what they're most excited about is actually not just the matching product. We started with the matching product, but they were also interested in the business intelligence portion, which I spoke to. And so it's together that with the business intelligence portion, they're able to see how folks are moving through the funnel. And then at the end, folks that are also interested in diversity and inclusion are able to use the matching product to not just get more quality leads, but they're also able to sift through applicants to be able to address those D&I.
So that's the value proposition. I'm asking about actual traction. So how many customers do you have? How often are you using it?
Yeah, so we're currently in beta, and we have 7 customers right now.
And how often are they using it? Like, sell?
How often are they using it? So they're using it so some folks use it as much as daily. Other folks use it like once a month. It really depends on what the value prop is for them, whether it's the D&I and they're just looking at it monthly and they want to see the reports, or it's the matching and it's on a day-to-day basis.
So I'm still a little bit confused about how you actually use this product. And I apologize, I don't know a lot of the HR terms, so I don't know what D&I or EOS.
Oh, sorry, it's diversity and inclusion.
Okay, and I think you mentioned another term like EOS or something like that. So how do you actually use this product? Is it like applicant, you company will use this product so that they can, instead of using their own, hiring process, they will use your product? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So hirers use applicant tracking systems, which is like, say you apply to a company. That's how they identify you, and they say, you're at this stage in the hiring process. And so what we do is we partner with those applicant tracking systems, one of those examples being Greenhouse. And what we do is we mine that existing data that they have. What they're currently not getting from those applicant tracking systems is insights as to the analytics, like what does their hiring funnel look like? Are there folks that are getting hired, are there positions that are hiring faster than others? And so what we're giving them is insights so that they can say like, hey, recruiting team over in New York, you guys might need to speed up. Not just that, but your funnel is actually getting stuck at the application review process. Maybe you guys should talk to this other team to improve that process. And if, for example, they're looking at diversity specifically, we're able to give them specifics as to the percentage of folks that are applying so that they can actually see whether it's a funnel problem. And we're also able to give them statistical significance. So like, let's say folks like females are being hired or rejected at a larger pace than males for technology. We can actually tell them that's actually significant. Or no, that seems to make sense based on the folks that are actually applying.
Thank you so much, Ruby.
Yeah, thank you.